So today I'm doing a game that was released around 2005 by the now defunct Sierra. So this is a game that is basically a sort of simulation of the real SWAT, its police unit, special weapons and tactics. So basically you take control of a SWAT team. You have a blue and a red team, both of two people who support you, and they are controlled by the AI. So this game has a progressively harder learning curve. The first missions are pretty easy, and you will have not much difficulty subduing the weak foes. However, when it does start to get hard, it gets ridiculously hard. I don't think most of the incidents that are recorded as later levels would really happen in real life, because you're going in there facing an army, essentially. So the fictional town where SWAT's set, called Fairview, is anything but. So basically, as a member of the SWAT team, it is your job to go in to various crime locations where there are usually hostage situations, and you have to take down the shooters and the victims alike, and you handcuff both just as a procedure. But you're supposed to try and take the enemies alive, and that's where there is a lot of depth in this game, as you can use all kinds of different crafty methods to overcome the enemy NPCs. So, for example, you could throw a flashbang and blind them. You can use pepper spray. There is an assortment of lethal and less lethal weapons. You can put a door wedge to block an exit, since the enemy AI tend to make a dash for it once they've spotted you. I really enjoy this game. It's a fun game to play. It has a lot of freedom. Yeah, there's many ways to skin a cat, so to speak. But if there are any bad points, the main ones I can think of is the movement speed, which is, even when you put, shift to run, your character is running at the pace that you would walk on, say, a Call of Duty game. Also, of course, because the game gets harder, progressively harder, it becomes more and more unrealistic. By the end of the game, you are trying to take down an army within a building, and yet you're still expected to take them all alive, or no lethal harm, which is very difficult. So during these harder missions, you'll often find that once you've finished the mission, the game's point system will count you out of a successful completion, because you need to capture a certain amount alive to pass every mission. So you're effectively being tested for your efficiency. So during these harder missions as well, the enemy AI will, some of them are just so stubborn they will not drop their guns. You can shoot them in the leg and they will be coughing up your pepper spray, and they are still not going to drop their guns, which is kind of crazy, but I guess it's sort of needed, because otherwise this game would just be very easy. This is a very creative game. It's done with a lot of attention to detail. I mean, you can tell that from the sort of comical adverts they have lying around in the locations. This has been made with a certain amount of love, I believe. One of my favorite missions is when you go into a house of some sort of crazy serial killer. And it's very atmospheric. You're kind of opening doors in the basement, and you find, fortunately still alive, some of his female victims. There's a lot of fun sort of narratives in the game like that. It is a very it's a well thought out, well put together piece. The graphics hold up pretty well for like a game that's more than 10 years old now, and the soundtrack complements the action. It's very involving, just like the more recent sort of Call of Duty Modern Warfare games. Unfortunately, your computer AI, although you want them to be careful all the time, sometimes they end up getting themselves shot over a very minor room with hardly any enemies, and somehow they will still manage to screw up and get killed. So you do need to nanny them to a certain extent, as I'm sure anyone who's played a game like Rainbow Six or Ghost Recon will be familiar with this. So yeah, this game it's very detailed. Could have been really poor if they hadn't thought about it carefully. So yeah, it's made with love. It's got good graphics. It's fun. It's a shooter, but it's not just blasting everybody and everything in sight. You have to use a lot of method. So yeah, this is well worth a reinstall. And I would give this overall, let's say 9 out of 10. Even today, I mean, this is a great game. Thanks, guys.